Hi, I'm Wes Solem. I'm a genetic counselor from HD Genetics, a company dedicated to providing remote genetic counseling and genetic testing options for the HD community. Today, I'm here on behalf of HDYO, the Huntington's Disease Youth Organization, for a series called HDYou to share stories from the HD community. These stories are told by and for the HD community. Deciding to test for Huntington's disease is one of the biggest decisions that someone at risk for HD can face. And today we're going to hear from AJ about his own experience and considerations surrounding HD and his decision of whether to seek predictive genetic testing and his experience actually testing. So, hi, AJ, if you could maybe introduce yourself to everyone, maybe where do you live? Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
yourself and kind of your connection to HD.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thank you, Wes, for conducting this interview today. It's a great platform to share my story, and part of the reason for sharing my story is just to kind of maybe bring more awareness to HD and just let people know that they're not alone in the battle against HD. There's people out there like myself and many other people, so it's good to relate to people's stories. But anyway, yeah, my name is AJ. It's my initials for Alexander John. My last name is Sambato, and I live in Northern California, a little south of Sacramento. We're in the Central Valley, and we work in agriculture. So we grow, pack, and sell cherries, apples, and walnuts. So right now it's kind of our slow time, which is nice. It's actually raining out, which is good. Kind of like a day off for us when it's raining. But my connection to HD, my mom has it. My mom just turned 60 back in November, and she started showing signs about 10 years ago or so, I would say. And didn't really know a whole lot about HD growing up. My grandfather had it. They lived in the Seattle, Washington area, and we've always lived in California. So I would always see my family maybe 3 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year, mostly for the holidays or other occasions. And my grandfather had HD, my mom's dad, and his symptoms developed later. I think he died of HD in the early 70s. But I was kind of younger when he was battling HD, and I wasn't fully really aware of what it was, but we could see, something was up, and my mom would tell us it's Huntington's, but never really asked a lot of questions as a young kid or wanted to know more. I just kind of, oh, grandpa has some disease called Huntington's, and that was kind of it. And then fast forward to high school or maybe early high school, my mom started showing some kind of different symbols, personality wise, and different things. And so that's when we started doing more and more research about it and learning more. And so yeah, that's kind of my connection to HD, and living in California, and recently got married back in July. And so I'm 28, and yeah, that's kind of my story. There you
Awesome. Well, yeah,
go.
um, that's great. Congratulations on just getting married too. That's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It was back in July, and back in Idaho. My wife is from Boise, Idaho, so we got married in a lake town a couple hours from Boise, and it was same town where her parents got married in, and it was a beautiful, beautiful lake town and ceremony. So thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome. When did you first start thinking about genetic testing? What kind of sparked you to start thinking about it?
Yeah, I began the process of testing and reaching out to UC San Francisco. It was the fall of 2021, so I was 25 years old. I kind of wanted to wait until I was at an older age, and also when I knew I was someplace where I felt really comfortable and I was settled down in a way, I guess you could say. And so I really felt comfortable where I was. And also, what prompted me to get tested was my girlfriend at the time, now wife. She was encouraging me to get tested, and having her support was what really kind of drove me to get tested and to find out what my result would be. So I started the process in the fall of 2021, and then found out my results April of 2021.
Hmm.
And then I got the negative result. But yeah, that was my testing story.
Gotcha. Yeah. What led you to kind of you said that you kind of wanted to wait for a time where you were feeling kind of settled and all that.
Yeah.
Did you have any time before that where you were thinking about it? What led to that kind of intuition or decision to say, let me hang on until I'm in a more settled place?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I had much of decision process behind that. It was just kind of in college, just busy and having fun, and I didn't really want to tackle such a large test and result. It's just such a major thing to find out and to go through. So I just kind of, and then post college started working, and I was living in Southern California with a couple roommates, and I just didn't think I had a great support system. I had amazing friends and all that, but um, talking about HD with other people, I think it to really dive into the disease and everything behind it, I think you really need a strong support group around you. So when I was 25 and decided to do it, I had my girlfriend and I had my family all in town, and my sister is really close with, and she went through the testing process. So I had a lot of people where I felt, okay, I'm comfortable. If it's a positive result, if it's a negative result, I'm ready to find out and see what it'll be. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So it
yeah,
sounds like you had a pretty solid support system, kind of your girlfriend, your family, all coming
yeah,
together and being in your corner.
for sure. That was a major help. Yeah, and if it weren't for them and just knowing where I was work wise too, like I see myself here for the foreseeable future. So just having that stability kind of really made me want to go through with it.
Sure. So you'd say that that is kind of like a key driver to what was helping you decide whether or when to go through with testing?
Yeah, I would say so because if it wasn't the result I was hoping for, then I can fall back on the people around me who can lift me up and say, "Hey, we'll get through this together," or this and that. So I think the support group to be with you, whether it's a positive or negative result, and then just the stability of a career and a home and different things like that. I think all my other boxes were kind of checked where I was stable and good. So then I was like, okay, now it's time. I'm 25 years old and getting really serious with my girlfriend at the time, now wife. And so we wanted to know our future. And so all those kind of accumulated to why I was ready for the test.
Gotcha.
So
Did you, thinking back to UCSF and your experience there in the process, did you participate in genetic counseling, or was it kind of like a pretty extensive process, or what did that
yeah,
look like?
yeah. So it was definitely more of a extensive process than I originally thought, which is really good, I'm happy they have such a process. So originally I reach out, and it's about a 30-minute phone call just explaining my connection to HD and why I want to get tested, and then that sets up another call a month later or so. It was about an hour long call. It was just with a genetic counselor, and she was just kind of learning about my everyday and do I have highs, do I have lows, and my personality and HD. So that genetic counselor was great. And then after I had that step, then I went into UCSF in person, and I met with a neurological. It was like a neurological evaluation, they said.
Hmm.
So after that, that was once I finished that evaluation with UCSF, I was really ready to do it. I wouldn't say I was like skeptical to do it because I was ready to go with the testing process. But after accomplishing those steps along the way to then take the test, then I really kind of convinced myself and knew that I was ready for the test and to find out that result. And I was really happy the way UCSF handled it, and their process of testing is great. And they make sure that you're ready for the result, and that you can handle such a heavy you know result. So um yeah, but it was definitely a process. It wasn't like I just reached out to her and the next week I went in for a test. All the steps to take that test, and then they emailed me. Well, we got a Sky or Zoom call for the result, which was really good too. They gave me the option to drive there, but it was like an hour and a half drive to the Bay Area, and I'll just do it on Zoom. So for the result, I had my dad next to me, and then and Elena, my wife, next to me too, and so they were with me for the result, which was really cool. And my one regret with finding out the result, I wish I would have had it recorded, because
Hmm.
just like that hearing that you're negative was just like such a massive, moment in my life. And I'll just never forget it. As soon as I heard it, my like head went down and I just started crying. And my wife and my dad were crying and we're smiling. And I wanted to keep asking questions on the Zoom about HD and other things. And that was just such a surreal moment. And there's just so many emotions that go with it too, because I have a sister who's also could have HD, just like me. And I have four cousins who could also have HD. So just because I don't have it doesn't mean that they're gonna have the same result as me. So my mom, she had seven brothers and sisters, and
Hmm.
one of them passed at a young age, so we don't know if he would have had HD or not. But three out of the seven have HD. So it's just kind of, you're obviously very, very excited to hear about your future, that you won't have to worry about Huntington's disease, but knowing that it's still out there for other people, it makes it bittersweet. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, that's a really really powerful point, AJ. I've talked with folks in the community that test negative that do say that sometimes there's this sort of immediate reaction from folks to your testing negative that maybe are
Yeah.
not familiar with that, or maybe they are and they sort of assume that it would just be complete relief or celebration.
Mhm.
And it can be a little more complex and complicated, especially whenever it may mean that you don't have a personal risk for Huntington's disease in your future, but that doesn't mean HD is out of your life, right? You still have
For
HD
sure.
in your family and the experiences that you've lived and still live. So I really appreciate you bringing up that point. That is a very important thing that comes up. Yeah,
Yeah. No, yeah, it's very, very powerful result. And yeah, and then knowing my mom still has it and is suffering every day from it. And yeah, there's just a lot of emotions that come with that negative result. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Sure. Did you ever have any moment where you were hesitant or you had doubts about undergoing testing or thought about pausing or stopping the process?
Um, I don't think so. So I looked back at my emails when I was going to do the testing, and I sent an email end of October of 21, and then it took a little while, but I was always staying on them. So I don't remember exactly, but looking back on my email chain, I think I was pretty confident the whole time, and wanted to do it. Yeah, I just felt comfortable and I was ready for it. So maybe a little. I was definitely nervous, but I think I don't think I had any skepticism at any point. I think I was ready, and I had my support base, and I was ready to take it on.
Sure.
So
And how did that compare to, kind of what you expected for the testing process? So like maybe what you were imagining it would be like, did it kind of play out the way that you imagined, or did you experience it differently?
yeah, so I got my result. It was April 21st, 2022, and leading up to that date, I thought, well, how am I going to be, the week of that appointment or the night of? No way I can sleep the night before or anything like that. But I actually surprised myself. I was totally fine that day, um, until we hopped on the Zoom call. Then I was like a nervous wreck. But
Mm.
surprisingly, that day I was okay. And I'll never forget that day too, because it was a crazy hailstorm. It rained
Oh,
like
wow.
2 inches in 30 minutes, and the hailstorm knocked out like our whole apple crop, which was a terrible business day. But I wasn't thinking of that at the time, of course. But um, yeah, it was just when I got on that Zoom, that's when the emotions really took over me. But leading up to it, I always felt pretty good about it, and I was never too nervous. Um, so yeah.
Did you find yourself kind of anticipating what that result would be leading up to the results day, or
Yeah, for whatever reason, I had a good feeling that it would be negative. I mean, obviously I have a 50% chance either way, but for whatever reason, I was kind of confident that I would be negative. I have no really rhyme or reason why I felt that way. But I just for some reason thought, yeah, I'll take the test and I'm at risk, but I think I'll be okay. And I happened to be. But there was no, that was just my gut reaction. And I have no real reasoning behind it, but that's how I felt.
Gotcha. Yeah. How was the period right after testing? So kind of coming out of that results appointment.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really emotional. My first call was my sister, and that was really, really emotional. Then called my family who were waiting on my result. And um so after all the phone calls and decompressing after the appointment, my kind of next step was, okay, what am I going to do with HD? I'm negative, but how can I impact other people, and how can I be an advocate for others? And so that's when I started doing some research, and I saw HDYO. And so yeah, my result really inspired me to get more involved with the HD community, and try to help out anyway. I don't think I'll ever be able to do a marathon, but I would like to do, maybe something like that to try to get more involved in the HD community. And but yeah, just that testing experience really inspired me to get more involved with HD.
That's great to hear. Were there certain resources that helped you kind of get through that whole testing journey that you particularly leaned on before then? Specifically like emotional support, even maybe advocacy organizations that you've mentioned. Were they around before you had tested and found out your results, or did you find out about all that afterward?
I only pretty much found out afterward, but UCSF was great in being a resource for me. So like if I was not feeling the best one day or wanted to no longer go with the testing or whatever it may have been, they were always there for me. So UCSF did a great job in making me feel comfortable, and really vetting me to make sure that I was ready for this result, and to find out what my future will look like. So because UCSF did such a great job in the testing process, I didn't really look out to other places. Um, but looking back, maybe it would have been good for me to look around and reach out to some research groups and people like HDYO and other people in the community to hear what they did. Um, but no, I didn't. It was just UCSF at the time.
Gotcha. Sure. It sounds like they did a really great job, that you had a really good experience with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Is there anything that you wish that you had known, or anything that you wish that you had done differently before kind of starting that process, kind of looking back?
Um, yeah, I don't. Um, I'm not really quite sure. I don't think so. Um, I think everything that happened throughout that process, I'm grateful for, and I thought it went the best it could. So I don't know if maybe I could have reached out to more support groups. But I think as far as like anything I would change or add, or I think I would have done the same thing, if to be honest with you. So yeah, looking back, I would I don't think I'd change a thing.
Sure. Yeah. Totally valid.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone in the HD community that's thinking about genetic testing? Do you have any advice or reflections or things that you may think of that might be helpful?
Yeah, for sure. I think they would definitely like I said, like I felt comfortable with the decision of getting tested because I felt really stable with everyone around me. So I would definitely encourage people who want to find out their future to make sure they have a great support base, and yeah, just make sure they're steady and they can handle such a big result. So yeah, I would just encourage people to reach out to people like groups like HDYO or other groups to relate to people and hear tips, and just talk to people who have been through it, and then they can let them know what worked for them and what they're really going through. Um, yeah.
Sure. AJ, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the community about your experience that maybe hasn't come up in these other questions or anything that you haven't got to say yet?
No, I mean, I just live every day hoping there'll be a cure for HD one day, and for anyone out there who's going through HD and they're being that primary caregiver or they're um whatever they may be doing with the disease, I wish them the best of luck. And it's a terrible disease and it's really, really sad. And seeing photos of a parent, how they were, and then to see them with their health declining is really, really tough. So I encourage everyone to make sure they're talking with family, and if the family's not there to talk through it, because it is a tough subject to talk about and to talk about. But yeah, I'll just encourage them to do anything they can to create that support system around them, and just know that they're not the only ones who have to go through HD. And there's people out there like yourself and Jenna and tons of other people in the community who are there for you and willing to help you out. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, huge thanks, AJ, for sharing your story with us and getting to talk with you today. Again, my name's Wes. I'm a genetic counselor, and this concludes this portion of the series for HDYou. These, again, are stories that are told by and for the HD community for the Huntington's Disease Youth Organization. So, yeah, thanks so much, AJ.
Yeah, thank you so much, Wes, and best of luck to everybody out there. And feel free, maybe you can put my email out there or my WhatsApp, and feel free to reach out to me. And I'd love to hop on a call with anyone, and I'm here for anyone going through Huntington's disease. So thank you, Wes.
Absolutely. Thank you, AJ.
Yeah. Bye.